Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be discussing more about decision making process and how it is actually related to artificial intelligence. In other words, I will try to highlight the attribute due to which you can understand that how decision making process is actually used in artificial intelligence, especially to take decision. But before we move ahead, I just want to highlight couple of important points so that you will able to understand not only decision making process but also able to relate many different aspects that why we are discussing this topic today, especially in our session. So before we move ahead and understand decision making process more in depth, I just want to give you a quick example so that you can understand the word decision very well. So you might have heard lot of people talk about, or we all have some people around us who are very smart in taking decision, or who are very smart or good in making right decisions. So generally we always relate them as intelligent people. So here also decision making process is related to intelligence. So hope you are clear and you will remember this part, and this is very much important throughout the AI to understand lot of aspect how AI is structured and how is AI is related to intelligence. Let's try to understand decision making process much in depth now and see what are the attributes that we generally use to take a decision. But before I move ahead, I just want to repeat one single statement which will help you to understand decision making process more easily. So we can definitely say, or we can easily say, that decision making process is a structured human made process which will help human to make right decision. I repeat again, decision making process is a structured process created by human so that human can take right decision. At the same time, there are certain factors or there are certain attributes which we as a human consider and we make or take decision. Those could be, or possibly those attributes are priority, mood, energy, goal, time, sentiment, result. Other than these, we have cost, support, resource, feasibility, information, solution, and failure. Other than that, I just want to call out that human decision making process is a complex and difficult. I hope so far you are with me and you're able to understand the decision making process and the attribute that I try to highlight currently in the presentation. So let's now try to understand that why I said that decision making process, especially for human, is complex and difficult. So let's take a very easy example, that let's say that we two are trying to solve the same problem but our approaches are different. Can you guess why I said that our approaches are different? Because we do have different set of learning and different set of experience. So definitely our approach to solve the same problem statement could be very different. Also, solution outcome may also vary, but at the same time, to achieve the outcome, or most of the time to achieve the same outcome, it is quite possible that we may have different approaches to solve the problem. Hope till now you understand my statement and it is clear to you. Let's now try to relate decision making process in comparison to machine. So far we discussed more about that how decision making process or decision making structured process is related to human, but let's now focus on machine and try to understand. So if I repeat my earlier statement about machine, so logically if you remember and recall, machine don't have brain, machine can't take decision. So in this case, we as a human act as a creator to develop artificial intelligence for machine so that they can take decision. Please remember this definition. This will definitely help you to relate and understand artificial intelligence in terms of machine. Now let's try to understand that this is a basic definition of machine and human in terms of artificial intelligence. But now let's recall and try to understand what is the major difference between a machine and a human in terms of decision making. So in the case of human can learn or have experience to solve a problem. What I mean to say that by repeating the same problem statement or by solving the same problem statement, human have a capability to learn and gain experience, whereas machine cannot, and they need assistance and support from human to have that capability. So hope till now you are clear and you are able to understand what I am trying to explain in this context. Now let's try to understand and formally see that how a decision making process for human will look like. I tried my best to represent all the needful element and the attribute on the screen which are related to or for decision making process. In other words, I try to highlight the structured process which is basically used for human to take or make decision. Now let's go one by one and see each attribute much in length to understand them better. So before we move further and try to understand and deep dive the decision making process much in length, I just want to call out and highlight again that here also decision is again related to intelligence. So remember this is very helpful keyword, and this will clear lot many doubt in future whenever you try to study artificial intelligence. Okay, now let's see each item one by one and try to understand that how it is related and contribute to decision making process. So at a high level, decision making process is roughly seen or maybe structured in the 7 step which you currently see on the screen. So by default, the first step is problem or situation. Second is capture detail. Third is search or find solution. Fourth is compare solution. Fifth is select most appropriate solution. Sixth is apply identified solution. And 7 is our target, which is evaluate outcome. I hope till now it is clear to you and you are with me. Before we move ahead, I also want to call out one more important point. This will really help you to understand decision making process much better, which is that any step that you see on the screen is by default or can be iterative. I repeat, any process that you see on the screen which is related to decision making process is an iterative process. When it will be iterative? As and when we as a human think that whatever input or output that we received from the step or from the phase is not sufficient to move to a next step. This is exactly where we as a human use our decision making power based on our learning, experience, or the input. This is exactly where we as a human differ with machine. Now let me quickly summarize the flow of the decision making process so that you understand this thing better and also conclude this topic. So first step is that in any situation or in any condition, our first step is always that we identify a problem or a situation. That is step 1. The second step is actually that we capture details. The details capturing can be in length, can be many steps, but for now let's understand that it's a second step after the problem situation where we capture the details. The third is actually where we find or look for solution. The fourth is where now in the step 3 we have tried searching the solution of actually found the solution. Now we are using that output and using in for step 4, which is basically to compare the solution. Now in the step 5 we are basically selecting the most appropriate solution which we think based on our decision making process is the appropriate to solve our problem. Then in the step 6 we basically apply the identified solution, and in the 7th step, which is basically the most important step, is where we evaluate the overall outcome using our decision making process, that whether or not we have achieved the desired solution or the outcome which we want to do using decision making process. I hope till now it is clear to you. So now let's quickly summarize the overall understanding of decision making process in a much simpler and a much easy way. So decision making process in this scenario specially designed for human. Second thing is, this decision making process is a structured way to solve a problem or to achieve the outcome. in this overall process, we as a human use our decision making power to ensure that we are achieving the right outcome. Hope this is clear to you and I am able to explain this topic well so that you can understand it easily.